Peace, world. This is God I Seer signing back on once again, right here on YouTube. Just checking in, bringing you another quick message, man. Listen, if this is your first time here, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and share this message. Share this on your social media. Share this with somebody that you know. You know what I mean? And please leave a comment. Don't hesitate to drop a comment on this message. And you're going to want to stick this one out to the end. I'm not going to be here for a long time. I know a lot of people got short attention spans out there. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, again, the divine led me here with you today to bring another message. And so, it was laid on me to come with this message right here, man. So what I wanted to say to you is, don't allow yourself to be a slave to other people's perception of you. You know what I mean? Do not allow yourself to be a slave to other people's perception of you and who you truly are. You see, a lot of people actually, we walk around actually afraid to be who it is that you truly are underneath all of that. You're afraid to be who you truly want to be or who you are. You know what I mean? And see, this is preventing your growth and your evolution. If you're not careful, you'll get stuck inside of a time loop because you refuse to outgrow that mold. See, you've built your own prison. You've built yourself a prison. That prison is actually the persona or the costume that you wear every day before you walk out the door. So I say it to you just like this, man. See, the world is a stage. And the world is a stage. And most people in the world are just playing a role. Most people are merely just characters in the simulation. You feel me? So, in other words, you see a lot of people, living their lives through the lens of what someone else thinks about them. You don't even feel comfortable in your own skin. See, you've created this persona for yourself, so now you got to maintain it. You know what I'm saying? It was you who decided, okay, this is what I want to be for the world. I want to put on this fake persona because this is what I was told. This is what you were told. You were told that you got to look like this. You got to act like this. You got to get up, go do something every day that you don't like to do just because you think it look good to the people watching you. Man, listen. Once I awakened and realized the day that I woke up and said, man, I don't give a fuck what nobody feel or say or think about what I'm doing, especially when they not vibrating on my frequency, especially if they wasn't there with you when you was putting in that work. When you went through your shadow work, when you went through them growing pains, none of these niggas was there with you. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you was really putting in that real work, real energy work, it take a lot to go within and really look at yourself. And that shit brings out the deepest, darkest, fears that you have in you. A lot of us done had to heal from certain things physically, mentally, and spiritually. In order for you to become God, you have to actually meet Satan. You have to meet your demons. You got to look at Satan. You got to meet Satan in order for you to become God. You don't get to God without going through Satan, without going through darkness. And no, these are not people. These are all just aspects of yourself. All of these energies live within you. We all have a dualistic nature. We all have duality. Polarity exists in everything. There's darkness and light in everything. So we all have to go through that darkness in order for us to illuminate and become that light. See, a lot of people don't understand, like when they see some of you, they see some of us who have, gone through a certain amount of initiation in order for us to, reach a certain level on our frequency, on our path, in order for us to come and, do what we do. A lot of people don't understand what it took for you to even still be standing. They don't know what it took for you to even still be breathing. They don't know the amount of work that you put in order for you to even still be existing. They don't know. They only see the outside. They don't see none of the things that you had to do. So if they wasn't there with you, if they didn't go through it, if they didn't see you go through it, if they didn't call and check up on you when you was going through your transformational periods, if they wasn't there when you was going through that dark night of the soul, you know what I'm saying? Then why in the hell should you give a fuck about what someone else thinks about what you do? But because you've been conditioned to feel like you gotta look like this, or I gotta, if I ain't doing this, then I ain't, I ain't living up to society's standards of me. I gotta go do X, Y, and Z. I gotta look a certain way, and I gotta portray to be a certain way. You gotta have a certain job, or you gotta feel like you just, I don't know, whatever that look like for you. You know what I'm saying? But whatever the case, you performing for people who don't even really give a damn about you at all. You know what I'm saying? All to impress others. Listen, the moment you let go of other people's perception of you is the moment that you truly become free. Once you stop giving a fuck about what other people feel about you, you become free. Freedom of expression. See, the universe respects authenticity. If you can't be authentically who you are, then you are a fucking slave. You feel me? When you alone, it's things that you really want to say that you say to yourself. It's things that you really want to be. It's ways that you would like to express yourself. But when you get around other people, you want to suppress that. You want to suppress the way that you really feel, because you feel like, it's not going to be pleasing to the sight of others. That means you're still living inside of the ego. And when you're living inside of the ego, you become a slave to the very persona that you created for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of that. It's a lot of people living in that reality, afraid to be who they are. I mean, I understand, it's only like that because, a lot of this comes from the level of conditioning that we were exposed to since children. You feel me? When you was a baby and shit, a lot of times you was born into a family who told you had to look like this. Oh, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. Or why are you out there doing this? Like if you was out there doing anything outside of what they would do, they would consider that to be abnormal. You know what I'm saying? You ask questions about like, who is God really? When you a child, like you start asking your family, like, okay, if God is this, then why does he look like this on every picture that I see? If God is a spirit, or if God is energy, then why is it always presented to us as a person? And you start asking these questions as you're growing, and your family and the people around you can't answer it, so they just tell you to be quiet, shut up, and go with the program, go with the agenda, and just continue to do everything that we telling you to do. And so this breeds what this does is it creates the atmosphere for you to be stuck inside of your ego. And this is why you get conditioned to live your life through the perception of other people. So it takes some undoing. See, you gotta unfuck yourself. You've been fucked since a baby. From the time that you came out of that Stargate portal and they stuck that needle in you, you've been fucked since a baby. They condition you you being conditioned at home from a child because your parents and your family, they're still programmed themselves. So they have not awakened. They don't really know much about spirituality. They don't know much about being authentic because they themselves are still slaves. So they can only teach you what they know. So from there, you become a slave. So now you getting it at home, and from an early age, they place you inside of the public school system, and then you go to school, and then you're getting conditioned even more to be something that you're not. By a group of people who does not have your best interests at heart. These people don't even know anything about who you are at your core. They know, but they want to take away your imagination. You feel me? They want to strip your imagination at an early age. Your imagination is the most powerful thing that you have. This is what you use to create. When if you can imagine something, you can bring it into your existence. If you can imagine something, you can bring it into your existence. So from an early age, they wanted to take away your imagination. You know what I'm saying? Think about children who have imaginary friends and imaginary playmates and things of that nature. And sometimes they have parents who will tell them, stop talking to yourself, or stop talking. There's nobody there. There's nobody over there. So what you doing? You can't do that. You are taking away that child's imagination. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to kill that child's imagination from an early age. And what it does is it causes that child to shut down. And when that child shuts down, that child becomes angry. That child becomes scorned. And when that child gets older, that child does not have the capacity to actually be themselves, because they was always told that anything that they did that they wanted to express themselves, it wasn't right. It was strange. It was frowned upon. Like, you can't speak to imaginary people. There's no monsters under your bed. There's nobody in the corner in there, but you could see things that they couldn't see. So now you suppress these things as you get older because you're afraid that it's going to make you look crazy, or you're going to look a certain way to people and shit like that. But man, listen, man, you got to express yourself and be truly who you came here to be. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, time does not even exist. Time is done. It does not even exist. It seems as though it's moving super fast because it's not there. And so you live in this life right now. All you have is this moment. Stop wasting energy and space. You know what I'm saying? Because you're afraid to come out and be who you truly are. Whatever that may be for you. If you're an artist and you always love to paint, you need to come out and paint. But you decided to go do something else because that's what you was told to do. You know what I'm saying? See, once you just stop caring, see, that's what real spirituality and real alchemy is about. Becoming the creator and orchestrator of your reality. And if those who don't align with it, they're going to automatically be removed from your reality because they're not on your frequency. The divine, the universe will take care of them. So as your reality shifts, then your circles will shift. Don't worry about the people that you know that's in your circle now. Don't worry about trying to maintain that shit. Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? If they can't grow with you, if they're not expanding with you, fuck them. You got to love them from a distance. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way when I say fuck them. What I mean is, when it comes to your own well-being and when it comes to you being authentically you got to choose you over what the fuck other people think about you. So you still trying to be something else, portraying to be one thing, when in reality, you came here to do something else. What you waiting on? You know what I mean? So this is what I was prompted to speak about, man. It's just a lot of, it's a lot of people who are afraid to be authentically themselves. You know what I'm saying? Again, man, once the day that you're no longer ruled by other people's perception of you is the day that you actually become free. See, now the burden is gone. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to put on that fake costume and all of that shit, because who you are underneath all of that, that's who you truly are. You know what I'm saying, man? People do it every day, man. You see women, they put makeup on, they go out here and they buy fake body parts, and they put on eyelashes, they put on all of these different things, and then they walk out here into the world and act like they God's gift to man, like somebody owe you something. Don't nobody owe you shit. You look like a fucking clown. You look like a fucking clown. You got on all this shit, but you ain't done no shadow work at all. You ain't done no shadow work. You look like a fucking clown. A bunch of women wearing a bunch of shit on their bodies and shit that ain't even theirs and ain't even healed the least little bit of trauma that's inside of them. That's why they doing that shit, because they hurt. You know what I'm saying? All you know how to do is put on makeup, lashes, and go get BBLs done. Get on social media and bend over and twerk, and then got the nerve to tell men that, oh, you know, I deserve this, so I don't eat at the Cheesecake Factory and all of this old bullshit. You know what I'm saying? When in reality, you ain't worth the makeup that you wearing on your fucking face. You know what I'm saying? Your spiritual energy is just as cheap as them fucking eyelashes that you got on. Don't nobody give a fuck about that shit. Only a mundane man cares about that shit. A man who has not tapped into his inner power. But a man, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who's tapped into their God self or their God energy is not going to entertain that bullshit. You know what I mean? You got to do the work. And it's not about other people. It's not about you doing what you're doing for other people. You got to do it for you. Because deep down inside, you still hurt. You know what I'm saying? So when you see people doing this, that's really them trying to overcompensate on the outside for what they lack inside. The same thing applies to these overly spiritual niggas. You know what I'm saying? You see the niggas that's wearing all of this spiritual attire and, you know, they talking like they, one thing, but when in reality, they telling you one thing, but they have not even done the inner work themselves. See, whenever you can see a person's light. And, you know, you got to be mindful. I want you to be discerning of who you choose to watch, listen to, and hear. And, you know, take what you take from it. And then, the rest, throw it away if it's not resonating with you. Because I see there are some people here that are misguiding people. You know what I'm saying? When they get on these platforms and whatnot. If you can look, if you're able to see, if you can see auras, you know, which I can. Some of you can see a person's light. And this is how you know a lot of times whether or not this person has done the work. Like they speak in a certain way, but then when you look at them, their light is not even there. It's not even on. You feel me? So even these people, they get on here and put on for other people. You know what I'm saying? They get on here to be something that they're not, someone who they're not. Like, listen, man. You know, one way to know for sure, like, listen, you know, if you've been consistent with who you are and you've been very consistent with that shit, even when it was the unpopular thing to do, then you are truly being who you authentically came here to be. You know what I'm saying? When you raise your frequency to a certain level, there's just you shed all of the old shit. Like all of that shit comes along with the ego self. The ego is afraid to let go of anything outside of what it's comfortable with. So the ego mind will tell you, hey, you growing too much. Like, what are you doing? You're stepping too much out of your comfort zone. You're making me uncomfortable. It's what the ego is telling you. So the ego, you got to shatter that shit. And when you do, it's very uncomfortable. But once you do, the ego will have no choice but to actually conform to whatever direction you decide to go in. See, you got to be the God over the ego. Don't allow the ego to be the God over you. You know what I'm saying? So, again, you see it with women. You see it with males. You know, you see it with females. You see it with males. You know, you feel like you got to look a certain way. You know, you feel like you got to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, then, you know, you're not going to feel, you feel like to be honest, let's keep it 100. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be real. As a man to man. You know what I'm saying? And I look at my demographics, so I know, we still growing the channel, the platform here, but I see that my listeners are about 60 to 70% male. So I'm talking to the men right now when I say this. Now listen, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, man, as a masculine energy, when you start putting on all of this persona and shit, you do certain things or whatnot, a lot of times, you know, you get to a point to where you feel insecure without these things because you've been so used to having it. You've been so used to like feeling like you gotta be, you gotta be doing all of this shit to make yourself seen. You feel what I'm saying? Like you gotta be doing all of this shit to make yourself seen. Like if you're gonna do something, do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like do it for you. Don't do it for nobody else. But let's be real though. If you take away all of that shit that you got and that you got on you, you know what I'm saying? Deep down inside, it's gonna make you feel like a bitch. It's gonna make you feel like a bitch because you ain't done the work. You haven't really healed. You know what I'm saying? You gotta heal from the inside out. See, it's gotta be in you. It can't be on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't matter. Like, listen, man. Things such as semen retention. You know what I'm saying? You develop your energy to a level of like your glow. You begin to glow. Your vibration is at a high. You know what I'm saying? You got self-love. Like it don't matter what you walk out the house looking like. Your confidence level, your level of energy radiates. And you can't buy that. You can't buy that. And the people around you can feel that. They can feel it. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter how you look. It don't matter what you portray to be. Your energy is going to speak before all of that shit speak. See, when you can't fool those who can feel and who can see. You know, first eye open. You know, you can't. And it's just sad. Like it's a lot of people, you know, a lot of us have been conditioned to feel like we have to look, you know, act and sound a certain way. And you get caught up in the persona of who you think you are. But that's not who you truly are. See, when you do that, eventually there's going to be a pivotal moment in your life where the universe is going to come and it's going to tear down all of that shit that you thought you were and you thought you knew. And it's going to force you to look at yourself. And this is when you're going to meet the real you that you've been hiding all along. And when you become to do that, when you become to realize who you really are and what you came here to be, and you start living in that authenticity every day, you know what I'm saying? You start letting your energy express itself outwardly every day. That's when you truly are free. That's real freedom. You know what I'm saying? You know, I listen, I observe, and I watch. A lot of people can't talk like this, or they can't speak. They can't say what they really want to say because they fucking scared. You feel me? They afraid. They're afraid. You got YouTube censoring people and saying, you know, trying to tell you what you can and can't say. Like, I don't really know. I don't care about none of this algorithm shit. I'm just here to express the message. I can care less if you know, I can care less. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for likes. I'm not here to be liked. You know, I'm here as a vessel because I truly am standing in my purpose. I'm standing in my authenticity, you know, right now, just being, you know, who I came here to be, at least in this moment. And the thing is, that can change tomorrow. You never get stuck in where you are right now because we're always growing. We always are expanding our consciousness. So, like, I don't live under the confines of YouTube. I don't live under the confinements of none of this shit. None of this simulated reality. That's another form of control. See, you got people that used to speak freely and stuff like that. And then when YouTube started implementing all of these guidelines about you cannot say X, Y, and Z, now people are actually censoring their messages, which is another form of control. You can't be who you truly are. But you got a right to say no. You know what I'm saying? If people who are on here speaking decide to say, okay, well, I'm gonna take my energy and put it in point it in another direction, then what happens? You know what I'm saying? You stop giving energy to the thing that's suppressing you. You feel me? So again, man, you know, stop letting other people's perception of you keep you a slave. You know that's not who you truly are when you wake up. You know when you go to bed that that's not who you truly are. You know, you get up every day and you go to a job or you go to work or whatever it is you do. You hop on your social media and you put on this costume, this persona to be someone who you are not. Yet when you go home and you sit with yourself, you miserable because you cannot face yourself. You sit with yourself for a couple of minutes and you start to feel uncomfortable. So you have to keep that persona going. But see, you can't lie to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't lie to yourself. So it's up to us to be authentically who we are, and let go of the personas. And again, man, that's true freedom. That's true mastery. Self-mastery involves us being who we truly came here to be. Not allowing things externally to dictate how we carry ourselves and what we do. It's too many people feeling like they got to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you got to be bold. You got to be bold. You got to be brave. You got to be courageous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people envy that about you when you authentic. They haven't gotten to the level of courageousness. They haven't done the shadow work yet in order to be authentically who they are. So when they see someone who is, it makes them feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you don't really give a fuck. The fact that you can speak the way you want and not care what other people think. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. The fact that you can carry yourself, do what you feel without caring about what other people think. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, it don't matter what you look like, how you act, what you dress like, what you live in, what you dress. None of that shit don't matter at the end of the day. It's about what's in you. You know what I'm saying? All of that shit don't matter. I tell you what. You can stand two people side by side. Take a homeless man. You know what I'm saying? And you take a man, take a homeless man and you take a rich man. Put them side by side. You're going to see obvious differences in their appearance. However, I want you to take a deeper look into these two people, right? Let's just say the homeless man have gone through a transformation. He on his way. Like, he done went through a transformation on a spiritual level. Meaning he's went inside of himself and done the work. You know what I'm saying? He's made that connection with himself. The man goes into meditation every day. You know what I'm saying? He starts to actively practice semen retention and cultivation and elevation. You know what I'm saying? He's raising his frequency higher. He starts to do things in order to, purify his spirit and his energy. And so on the other hand, you have the man who's quote unquote rich, but yet he hasn't done any shadow work. He hasn't gone inside internally and taken care of that energy that's in him. He hasn't healed his trauma. You know what I'm saying? He wasting his seed every night, on toxic women. So his life force energy is being depleted. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a light. His glow is gone. But you can see the light beaming off the homeless man. But the other person, the rich person, has no light. So something happens. You begin to see the man who is perceived to be homeless, as he continues to work on his inner self, his outer world will start to change. So now all of a sudden, the next time you see him, he's looking a bit cleaner. You know what I'm saying? He's even got a home. Everything is shifting because he's done the inner work. But see, you can't become something, you can't skip over the inner process and try to jump to the other category. Like, you can't jump over the inner work. It don't matter about your status. Like, you can't skip that part. Because when you skip that part, you can do it. There's ways to, you know what I'm saying, attain a certain level of status and shit. You know what I'm saying? I know this firsthand. I've been in certain rooms, seen certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I know there are ways. But when you take that route, what you're doing is you are actually setting yourself up to fall. You know what I'm saying? So you'll see the man who has actually the perceived rich man will sometimes, if his light is not on, you might see him, go through some emotional tough times. And actually, this is why you will see a rich person ending up, you know, committing suicide. Because even though, you feel like, or they feel like they had it all externally, they had not done the work internally because they were afraid to actually be who they authentically are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll hear a lot of them say, man, listen, man, I don't really like all of this shit, man. I'm just doing this shit. I thought this is what I wanted. I thought this was it. I'm just doing this, and all of this that I have and all that I'm doing, it was really just because I just thought this was it. I thought I was always told this was what it was about. But then you get there and you feel out and you realize you're still missing something. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't do that inner work. So, that's why it's important, man, to make sure you do that, and to make sure that you stop living through the lens of other people and start to become authentically you. Once you start doing that, this is when you really will start to exist on a higher vibration. Authenticity is one of the highest vibrations that you can get to. A person who's authentic is really a person who typically is vibrating on a higher frequency. You know what I'm saying? If you're being authentically you. That will cut out a lot of the other shit that you deal with if you start to become authentic and you shed yourself of the persona. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come back with that quick message, man. Again, just go ahead, make sure that you subscribe and share this message, especially if it resonated with you. Make sure you hit the like button. And again, man, we'll be back with another message soon, man. Again, it's God I Seer right here, man. The House of Ancestors signing off. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.